So the question today is an EV, is an electric vehicle, good for you? I guess the first thing is to say straight away that electric vehicles today in 2023 are not for everyone. My name is Simon Verona. I'm a 7-year owner of electric vehicles. Let's look at this question in more depth. Is an EV suitable for you? So let's start with who an EV isn't suitable for. The first and most important thing today, I think, for most people is if you don't have the ability to charge at home or in work, then this puts you at the mercy of public charging and loses one of the key hidden benefits of having an EV with a home charger, the ability to never really ever need to fill up. You come out every morning and the car is full. The second reason you may not want to buy an EV is if you travel further than the range of a car that you buy in a single day. You need to bear in mind, of course, that the cars, like petrol cars, never do their expected range. They're always a little bit lower, in winter. But the bottom line is that if you travel more than the car will drive in a day, you're going to have to charge. This means the mercy of the public charge network, which today, 2023, isn't where it wants to be, where it should be. You'll find perhaps the chargers don't work, they're slower than you expect them, or there's queues because there aren't enough of them. That's getting better year on year, but that's today where you want. So you may be sort of driving around thinking, that's all right, I can drive around and get a 20-minute charge, and then find your 20-minute charge is taking you an hour. There is a caveat to this. The caveat is Tesla. If you have a Tesla, then all that I've said really becomes completely negative. You can get in your car and you can drive end to end of the country knowing that on your way you can charge wherever you want on the way at a Tesla charger. It'll work, it'll be fast, and the way you use the car changes very, very quickly. You never stop to charge. People talk about, I have to stop to charge. You don't really ever stop to charge. You coincide your charging with natural breaks. So when you want to eat, when you want drinks, coffee, or if you just want to go and use the facilities, that works very, very well. The good news, though, is that where Tesla is today is where nearly every electric car will be in a year or two's time, as the charge networks are improving, and they are improving year on year at a rapid rate. Number three, the third reason you may not find an electric car suitable for you is if you travel lower than the average mileage in the UK, so sort of lower than 8,000 miles a year. The key financial benefit of owning an electric vehicle, both in terms of the actual cost of the vehicle and in their environmental benefits, piles up with the miles. Low mileage drivers realistically today in 2023 may not see those benefits, as the higher cost and the higher CO2 use in building the car takes longer to offset. However, flipping that on its head, if you're a higher mileage driver and driving more than 8,000 miles a year, those benefits really accrue very, very quickly with far lower running costs and much better to the environment over the time. But the reality today is that the real winner for electric car ownership is if the car you're going to drive is owned by the company you work for. There are two ways this can happen. The first one is through a traditional company car scheme, if you're lucky enough to own a company car. In this case, switching your company car from a diesel or to a petrol to an electric car, a full electric car, will have a massive win in terms of benefit in kind. So let's take an example. Take maybe a diesel BMW 320, switching that to a Tesla Model 3 short range. They're equivalent in price, there or thereabouts. Just by doing that, it's exactly the same as taking a £2,000 pay rise per annum purely on the improved benefit in kind. And that's before you factor in the costs of switching from diesel and paying the diesel price to electric, where maybe you can charge at home or charge at home overnight, which is far, far cheaper. Again, the second way that you can have a company car is via a salary sacrifice scheme. That is where basically the company will take the car for you on your behalf, but you're actually paying the price of the car by sacrificing your salary. The key thing here is that because the salary sacrifice takes place before you pay any tax, because you've not earned that money, you don't pay the tax on it. So that means that you're effectively getting a reduction in the lease cost of the car by about 40%. And on the other side of the coin, all you'll do is paying a minimal benefit in kind. So again, taking that Tesla Model 3, if you were to go out personally and lease that, that's probably going to cost you £490 a month every month. But if you then take that through a salary sacrifice scheme, the car itself is probably going to be just a tad under £300 a month for exactly the same car. So again, a significant saving. So to conclude, if you don't have a home or work charger, then it's possible that an EV is not for you in 2023. Similarly, if you drive further than the range of the car regularly, and I don't mean just sort of once every now and then to go away for a weekend or something, but literally a few times a week, you may find an electric vehicle is not for you either. And finally, if you're a low mileage driver, today you might find that you're not ready for an electric vehicle either. However, if those work for you, then maybe an electric car is for you. And if in particular you have access through a company car, you really have to find a good reason not to run an electric vehicle. Hope this has been quite useful for you today. Love some comments if you do. Thanks for listening.